Your hero is coming, right? He mocked. The man's fingers tightened around her chin, forcing her to look up at him. The dim bulb hanging from the warehouse ceiling flickered, throwing broken shadows across the concrete floor. Dust floated in the air like silent witnesses. Maya tried not to show fear, but her wrists were tied behind the metal chair. Her shoulders burned. Her breathing was uneven. She had been here for hours, maybe more. She had lost track of time after they took her phone. The man leaned closer. His breath smelled of cigarettes. No signal. No police. No witnesses, he whispered. You really think someone is coming for you? She didn't answer, because deep inside, she wasn't sure. She barely knew him. They weren't friends. They weren't family. They had only met. Twice. But still, she believed he would come. And that belief scared her more than the kidnappers, because if he came, he would walk straight into a trap. The metal door behind her creaked open. Another man entered, holding a phone. He got the message, he said. The leader smirked. Good. Tell him to come alone. He already replied. The man handed him the phone. The leader read the message, and his smile slowly widened. He says, he's already on his way. The men around them laughed. Idiot. He really cares. This will be easy. Maya closed her eyes. Please don't come. Please don't come. But somewhere deep inside, she knew he already had. 30 minutes later, outside the abandoned warehouse, headlights cut through the darkness. One single black car rolled to a stop. No convoy, no bodyguards, no backup. Just one man. Inside the warehouse, one of the kidnappers peeked through the broken window. He's here. The leader stood up slowly. Alone? Yes. Laughter exploded across the room. Open the gate. I want him inside. Maya's heart started pounding. The metal door opened. Footsteps echoed. Calm, measured, unhurried. And then he appeared. Black coat, clean white shirt. No expression. He looked exactly the same as the night she met him. Like nothing in the world could disturb him. Even now, surrounded by armed men, he looked peaceful. The kidnappers surrounded him instantly. Knives flashed, guns lifted, 30 men forming a circle. The leader clapped slowly. Impressive. You really came alone. The man's eyes moved past them, straight to Maya. She saw something change in his gaze. Cold. Dangerously cold. Let her go, he said calmly. The men laughed. You think you're in control? No answer. One of them stepped forward and punched him across the face. The sound echoed. Maya gasped, but he didn't fall. He didn't even react. He just looked back at Maya again. And that's when she realized he wasn't worried about himself. He was checking if she was hurt. And something inside her chest tightened. Because now she knew. He really came for her. 2 weeks earlier, rain poured across the city, turning the streets into mirrors of neon light. Maya pulled her jacket tighter as she stepped out of the diner. Her shift had ended late again. Her feet hurt. Her back ached. Her phone battery blinked at 3%. Another long day. Another exhausting night. She walked toward the bus stop, holding a small takeaway bag. It had leftover fries the cook let her keep. As she passed the alley, she noticed a luxury sedan parked near the curb. The headlights were still on, but the engine was silent. Strange. She ignored it and kept walking. Then she heard a faint sound, like someone struggling to breathe. She stopped, turned back. The sound came from the car. She hesitated. This wasn't her problem. She was tired. But something inside her told her to check. She approached slowly and knocked on the window. No response. She tried the handle. Unlocked. She opened the door. Inside, a man was leaning against the steering wheel, breathing heavily. His face looked pale. Sweat covered his forehead. "Hey, are you okay?" she asked. No response. She quickly grabbed her water bottle and touched his shoulder. His eyes opened slightly. Water. She helped him sit back and gave him the bottle. He drank slowly. His hands were steady. Even in weakness, his movements were controlled. Not like a normal person. She noticed his clothes, expensive, perfectly fitted. His watch alone probably cost more than her yearly salary. "You shouldn't drive like this," she said softly. "You could have fainted." He looked at her. Really looked. No one had spoken to him like that in years. No fear, no respect, no hidden agenda. Just concern. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. "Maya." He nodded. "Thank you, Maya." She smiled lightly. "You should rest." She stepped back and closed the door. Then she walked away. No questions, no curiosity, nothing. Inside the car, Kang Jun-woo watched her leave. The rain blurred the glass, but he didn't move, because for the first time in years, someone treated him like a normal man, not like a monster, not like a boss, just human. And he didn't know why, but he remembered her. 3 days later, Maya worked the afternoon shift at a small cafe. The place was crowded. Customers complained. Her manager yelled constantly. Then 3 men walked in. Loud, arrogant, dangerous. They sat down and snapped their fingers. "Coffee?" She nodded and brought it. One of them grabbed her wrist. "Smile." She pulled away. "Please don't touch me." They laughed. One spilled coffee deliberately. "Clean it." She bent down. Another kicked her tray. "Oops." The cafe stayed silent. No one helped. Humiliation burned in her chest. Then the door opened. A familiar figure walked in. Black coat. Calm eyes. It was him. He saw everything. The spilled coffee. Her shaking hands. Their mocking smiles. He walked forward. "Apologize," he said calmly. They laughed. "Who are you?" No answer. 5 seconds later, 6 men in suits entered behind him. The atmosphere changed instantly. The troublemakers froze. "Let's go," their leader muttered. They left. Just like that. Maya stared in shock. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "Thank you." "You helped me first," he replied. Then he left. And that moment changed everything. That night, someone was watching. And Maya had no idea. She just became the weakness of one of the most dangerous men in Korea. The punch landed hard enough to echo inside the warehouse. Maya flinched, but he didn't. He slowly turned his face back, as if the hit meant nothing. Blood appeared at the corner of his lip. One of the kidnappers laughed. "Not so brave now, huh?" Still no reaction. The calm in his eyes began to make them uncomfortable. Because this wasn't normal, and anyone surrounded by 30 armed men should panic. But he stood there like a man waiting for a meeting to start. And that scared them. The leader walked closer. "You really came alone? For her?" he asked. Silence. He grabbed Maya's hair and pulled her head back. "You must like her a lot." Maya winced. That was the first moment his expression changed. Not anger, not fear, just cold. The temperature in the room felt like it dropped. "Let her go," he repeated. The leader smiled. "Or what?" No answer. And the tension thickened. But to understand why he came alone, we need to go back. 4 days before the kidnapping. Maya stepped out of the cafe after another long shift. The rain had stopped, but the streets were still wet. The air smelled fresh. She walked toward the bus stop, when a black car slowly pulled beside her. Her heart skipped. The window rolled down. It was him. "You're done for the day?" he asked. She nodded, slightly surprised. "Yes. I'll drop you." She immediately shook her head. "No, it's okay." He studied her. "You don't trust me?" She smiled softly. "It's not that. I just don't want to bother you." He opened the door. "Get in." There was no force in his voice, but something about him made refusing difficult. She hesitated, then sat inside. The car smelled clean, expensive, quiet. They drove in silence for a few minutes. Then she spoke. "You helped me that day. Thank you. You helped me first. You could have just ignored those guys. They were annoying." She laughed slightly. That was the first time he heard her laugh. And for some reason, he liked it. "Do you always work that late?" he asked. "2 jobs." "Why?" She shrugged. "See, bills?" He didn't ask more. But he noticed her hands, small scars, burn marks, hard work, not weakness. The car stopped near her apartment, a small building, old, paint peeling. He looked at it quietly. "This is where you live?" She nodded. "Thank you for the ride." She opened the door, then paused. "Hey." He looked at her. "You should eat properly," she said. "You still look pale." Then she left. He watched her disappear again, and something unfamiliar settled in his chest. Concern. Inside the car, his phone rang. His right-hand man spoke immediately. "Boss, the board is waiting. I'm on my way. Also, the Busan deal, cancel it." Silence. "Cancel?" "Yes." "But that's $1 billion. Cancel it." He hung up. Because for the first time in years, business didn't feel important. 2 days later, Maya noticed something strange. The same black car parked across the street. Every evening. She thought it was coincidence. Until one night, she walked over. "You're stalking me?" she asked jokingly. He looked slightly confused. "I'm waiting." "For what?" "You finish work at 10:30. She blinked. "You memorized my schedule?" He didn't answer. She laughed. "You're weird." He almost smiled. Almost. That night, they talked more. About small things, food, weather, life, nothing serious. But something was building. A quiet connection. Neither of them realized they were being watched. From across the street, 2 men sat inside a van. "That's him?" one asked. "Yes." "And the girl?" "Seems important." They took photos. And that's when everything began. The men who got humiliated in the cafe wanted revenge, but they couldn't touch him. So they studied him. And they noticed one thing. He met only one person. Maya. "She's the key," their leader said. "Kidnap her?" "Yes." "And him?" "He'll come." "And if he doesn't?" He smiled. "He will." The night of the kidnapping, Maya walked home alone. She was texting her brother. A van stopped beside her. Before she reacted, hands grabbed her. She tried to scream. A cloth covered her mouth. The world spun. Darkness. Silence. When she woke up, she was tied to the chair. Inside the warehouse. Back to present. The leader pressed the knife against her shoulder. "You're not scared?" he asked him. Finally, he spoke. "No." The men laughed. "You should be." He shook his head slowly. "No. You should." The room went silent. Something about the way he said it felt wrong. Like they misunderstood something. Like they weren't the hunters, but the prey. And the leader frowned. "What did you say?" He looked around. 30 men. Weapons. Confidence. He sighed. "You shouldn't have touched her." The leader lost patience. "Beat him." 2 men rushed forward. The first swung. He blocked. Fast. The second attacked. He stepped aside. Suddenly, the calm man moved. Precise. Controlled. Efficient. Within seconds, 2 men hit the floor. The others froze. What the? He adjusted his sleeve. Still calm. Still composed. But now, dangerous. The leader stepped back slightly. You think you can fight 30 men? He didn't answer. Instead, he slipped his hand into his coat pocket. Maya's heart raced. The kidnappers tensed. Click. A small sound. Then silence. 5 seconds passed. Nothing happened. The men laughed again. Calling backup? Still silence. 10 seconds. 20. Then, outside. Engines roared. Dozens of them. The kidnappers looked at each other. Confusion spread. Headlights filled the broken windows. The leader's smile slowly disappeared. And that's when they realized he didn't come alone. He just arrived first. The engines outside didn't stop. They multiplied. 1, 2, 5, 10. Headlights flooded through the broken warehouse windows like a silent storm. The kidnappers looked at each other. Confusion turned into unease. The leader's grip on Maya loosened slightly. What is that? One whispered. The calm man didn't answer. He simply stood there, watching them. And that was more terrifying than any threat. Tires screeched outside. Car doors slammed. Heavy footsteps surrounded the building. The kidnappers raised their weapons. Boss, we should move, one of them said nervously. The leader tried to maintain control. Relax, seeing it's probably just his security. But deep down, he didn't believe his own words, because the atmosphere outside felt organized, not random, not rushed, professional. Then, the warehouse door burst open. Black-suited men entered in perfect formation. Silent, disciplined, deadly calm. They didn't shout. They didn't panic. They simply walked in and spread across the room. The kidnappers suddenly realized they weren't surrounded anymore. They were trapped. The leader stepped back. Who are you people? No one answered. Instead, every man looked toward the calm figure in the center. Waiting, respectful, obedient. And that's when the kidnappers understood. These men weren't his backup. They were his army. The calm man wiped the blood from his lip, then spoke quietly. Release her. Immediately, 2 black-suited men stepped forward, and the kidnappers hesitated, but fear had already taken over. They pushed Maya's chair forward. Her hands were untied. She stumbled. Before she fell, he caught her. For the first time, his calm expression softened. Are you hurt? He asked quietly. She shook her head, still in shock. I thought you came alone. I did, he replied. She looked around. At least 40 men now filled the warehouse. Then what is this? He glanced at the kidnappers. They came. The leader swallowed hard. You? Who are you? Silence. One of the black-suited men stepped forward and placed a small metal pin on the table. A dragon symbol. The leader's face turned pale instantly. No way. His hands started shaking. That symbol. That's... Another kidnapper whispered. The silent chairman. The calm man didn't deny it. Didn't confirm it. But the silence was enough. Because everyone in the underground world knew that name. The silent chairman. The invisible ruler. The man who controlled companies, ports, shipping routes, and entire criminal networks. The man no one had seen clearly. The man no one dared challenge. And now, he was standing right in front of them. The leader's legs weakened. You're him? Finally, he spoke. Yes. The word echoed like a gunshot. Fear exploded in the room. One of the kidnappers dropped his knife. Another stepped back. We didn't know. That's why you're still alive, he replied calmly. The leader's voice trembled. We just wanted money. We didn't mean... You touched her. Silence. Cold. Final. And everyone understood. This wasn't about business anymore. This was personal. The fight started without warning. No shouting. No chaos. A just movement. Fast. Precise. Controlled. Within seconds, black-suited men disarmed the kidnappers. Knives fell. Guns slid across the floor. Men were pinned down. 3 minutes. That's all it took. 30 men. Defeated. The leader was dragged forward. He dropped to his knees. Please. We didn't know. The silent chairman looked at him. You followed her. Yes. You kidnapped her. Yes. You threatened her. The man started crying. Yes. The chairman turned away slightly. His men understood. They dragged the kidnappers out, one by one. No screams, just silence. Maya watched, confused. What? What will happen to them? He looked at her. They'll disappear. Her heart skipped. Disappear. The word felt heavy, dangerous, real. She finally understood. He wasn't just powerful. He was terrifying. And yet, he came alone. For her. They stepped outside. The night air felt cold. Rows of black cars lined the road. Maya stared in disbelief. All this? For me? No. She looked at him. For them, he corrected. So they understand. She swallowed. Understand what? He opened the car door for her. That they made a mistake. Inside the car, silence filled the space. Her hands still trembled. He noticed. He took off his coat and placed it over her shoulders. She looked at him. Why? Did you come? You helped me. That's not enough reason to risk your life. He looked out the window. It is for me. She didn't know what to say. After a moment, she whispered, You're dangerous, aren't you? He didn't deny it. Yes. And you still came alone? He nodded. I always arrive first. And if they killed you? They wouldn't. How do you know? He looked at her. It's because I don't lose. There was no arrogance, just certainty. And that scared her more than anything. The car started moving. Behind them, the warehouse lights went dark, like nothing had ever happened. Maya leaned back slowly, her mind still processing everything. You're Mafia? He stayed silent. That was answer enough. She exhaled slowly. And I gave you water? He nodded. She laughed softly. I could have been kidnapped sooner. For the first time, he almost smiled again. Almost. But neither of them noticed. One of the kidnappers escaped. Bleeding. Terrified. But alive. And revenge was already forming. The car drove silently through the empty highway. Maya still hadn't fully processed what had just happened. The warehouse, the men, the symbol, the fear in everyone's eyes when they realized who he was. She slowly looked at him. You really control all of them? She asked softly. Yes. No hesitation, no pride, just a simple answer. She swallowed. And you came alone, just for me. He didn't answer this time, because he didn't need to. They both already knew. 2 days passed. Maya tried to return to normal life, but nothing felt normal anymore. Every shadow looked suspicious. Every parked car made her nervous. Every stranger felt dangerous. And worst of all, she couldn't stop thinking about him. The calm man who drank her water. The silent man who watched her leave. The terrifying man who made 30 criminals kneel. All the same person. She didn't know how to feel. Safe? Or afraid? That evening, she finished her shift early. When she stepped outside, the black car was already there. He stepped out. You're early, she said. You look tired. She smiled faintly. I think I'm still processing everything. He nodded. They stood in silence for a moment. Then she asked quietly, Will they come back? He looked at her. No. She noticed something in his eyes. Certainty. Finality. Because you scared them? No. Then why? He answered calmly. Because they no longer exist. Her heart skipped. She didn't ask more. Because she understood. But far away, one man was still alive. The kidnapper who escaped. He sat inside a dark room, trembling. They're all gone, he whispered. Across from him sat another figure, a powerful crime boss from another region. You're saying the silent chairman showed up personally? Yes. And for a woman? Yes. The crime boss leaned back slowly. A dangerous smile appeared. Interesting. Because every powerful man has a weakness. And now, they found his. 3 nights later, Maya closed the cafe alone. Her manager had left early. The street outside was unusually quiet. Too quiet. She locked the door and started walking. Halfway down the street, a black van stopped. Her heart froze. The door slid open. Men stepped out. Different from before. More organized. More dangerous. She turned to run. A hand grabbed her. Missed you. Her scream echoed. But before they pulled her inside, headlights exploded across the street. A black car stopped sideways. The door opened. He stepped out. Calm. Cold. Silent. The men froze. It's him. He walked forward slowly. You're making the same mistake, he said. One of them pulled a gun. Back off. He didn't stop. The gun shook. The man fired. But before the shot reached, a bullet hit his hand. From the rooftop. Snipers. Hidden. The men panicked, and cars surrounded the street. Black-suited guards moved in instantly. Within seconds, the attackers were pinned down. Maya stood frozen. He walked to her. Are you okay? She nodded, breathing fast. You knew? Yes. They were coming? Yes. Her voice trembled. You used me as bait? He paused, then shook his head. No. Then? I was waiting. For what? For them. To show themselves. She stared at him. You're terrifying. Yes. But you protected me. He looked at her quietly. I always will. The captured men were dragged forward. Their leader glared. You think this ends here? He stepped closer. It already did. The man laughed. You came alone before. Lucky. Next time. He interrupted calmly. I never come alone. The leader frowned. You were alone in the warehouse. No. He gestured slightly. On from rooftops, shadows appeared. Snipers, dozens, hidden, watching, waiting. You see, he said quietly, I arrived first. The leader's face turned pale, because now he understood. He wasn't brave, he was always in control. The next morning, every rival group connected to that attack disappeared. Warehouses seized, accounts frozen, leaders arrested, operations erased. The underground world understood one message. She is untouchable. That evening, Maya stood on the rooftop of her building. The city lights glowed below. He stood beside her. You didn't have to do all this, she said. Yes, I did. Why? He looked at her. Because they chose you. And I chose you first. Her eyes widened slightly. The wind moved softly around them. You're dangerous, she whispered. Yes. But with you, I feel safe. He didn't respond. But for the first time, his expression softened completely. She smiled. You know, when they kidnapped me, I wasn't scared. He looked surprised. Why? Because I knew you would come. He looked at the city. I always will. And somewhere in the distance, the underworld whispered again. The silent chairman came alone, but never truly alone. Because the moment someone touched her, they weren't facing one man. They were facing an empire. And that night, Maya finally understood. The calm man she gave water to in the rain was the most dangerous protector she could ever have. And the man who walked into 30 enemies alone didn't do it to prove power. He did it because she mattered.